We're now going to flip the heart over and look at the posterior side of it. So remember, here was our right side. So now the right side will actually be on the right side. So right atria, right ventricle, left atria, left ventricle. And you should be able to find the posterior intra ventricular sulcus. And that is, it's kind of hard to see a little bit of fat here. So it is right here. Remember, this is just like muscle. When you look at beef, you've got the fatty bits here, and you can see a little bit of the pinkening of the muscle. Okay, so that's our next guidepost. Now we're going to start looking at the vena cava. If you take your probe, and this is kind of hard to do, I had to kind of poke around with my fingers to find the opening here. So you might have to go at it with your finger, actually, because my vessels here are very tiny. They've cut off my aorta. And so just try to do your best as you can. But I've got an opening here. And I'm going to go ahead and stick my probe inside of there. You may have more luck than I do with this. Remember, this is the right atria, right ventricle, left side, left. And here's my right auricle. That'll help orient you with this one. Stick your probe in there. And you should be able to come out the other side. I'm not doing a very good job of this. For some reason, I'm not coming out the other side. It's going right under the auricle. But stick that probe right through the inferior vena cava, and then you're going to want to come out the superior vena cava. The other thing we need to find on the left side of the heart are the pulmonary veins. Remember, these are going to be carrying deoxygenated. They're the pulmonary arteries, in this case, are going to be carrying. The pulmonary veins are going to be carrying oxygenated blood. And in this case, they will be on the left-hand side. So remember, lung left. And that is where your, and I can see mine right there. Right. This part can be a little bit challenging because there can often be a little bit of fat up here. But we've done a pretty good job of trimming that away. But you can see the nice opening there. And this is on our left side. So this is where our oxygenated blood returns from the heart, from the lungs. And we're going to do another photo opportunity here. You're going to take a picture. Now we're taking a picture of this side of the heart with your name and the date. And then you're going to label it with all of the structures that we just identified. Okay, so remember I told you we now have the heart oriented with the right here and the left here. We are going to cut through the left side of the heart, exposing the left atrium and the left ventricle. You may have to cut through a bit of the valve. Be very careful. Just cut the left side and do not cut yourself. So go ahead and, bit of mess there. Go ahead and very carefully cut through this side. We're going to expose this. Don't cut yourself, cut the sheep's heart. Okay, and then we're just going to open this up and we should see. Okay. All right. Look at what we see there. So you can see the thick wall of the ventricles. Put a little bit more. And the atria right here, and the thick wall of this ventricle here. The valve, I think I might have cut through it accidentally, but the valve is right here. And that keeps blood from flowing backwards up into the atrium. Some people have a heart murmur, and what that is sometimes you get backflow. You don't want blood flowing backwards from the ventricle into the atrium, but sometimes that happens here. I think I've accidentally cut my valve off. There it is. So that is, there we go. Okay, that's your tricuspid valve. the valve is attached to the walls of the heart by this stringy material here. You can see that pretty well there. And that is called the chordae tendineae. So you are going to take another picture. Okay, so now we're going to trace the opening of where these guys go. All right. So this is our left side, meaning the oxygenated blood will come in from the lungs here. So we should be able to trace the opening. So let me grab my probe, and then we will go ahead and do that and find the opening of this vessel. Again, there could be quite a bit of fat in here, so don't be shy about cutting some of this mess off, because it may be hard unless you do to find the vessels in here. Sometimes I'll just stick my finger inside the aorta or the atrium and see where it comes out, and that will tell you where the vessel is. But in this case, I think I might have cut a little bit through it. It's always kind of challenging to cut these in just the precise spot. So this is another photo opportunity. You want to take a picture with all of these parts labeled, but I want to show you something interesting. So you can see here that my finger goes down the aorta and it comes into the left ventricle of the heart. You should also be able to find the pulmonary vein here. I'm having a devil of a time finding the opening for the pulmonary vein in my atrium. So if you can figure it out, let me know, because mine's kind of boogered up. I must have cut it wrong. But you're going to stick a probe up there through the pulmonary vein, up here, and out through the pulmonary vein, and take a picture of that. And then we're almost done. We're going to flip it over and look at the right side of the heart. So now we're going to flip our heart over and do basically the same thing. Again, carefully take the scalpel. Do not cut your fingers. These are really sharp. And we're going to cut through here. We're going to expose the right side of our heart. A little more cutting to do here. And again, you're going to have another valve on this side. Hope you all remember what that valve is called. And I've kind of made a booger of this. Maybe I've cut too deeply at the bottom. Anyway, so you're going to repeat the same thing. You're going to see the right atrium and the right ventricle on this portion of the heart. Go ahead and label these parts, and there you can see the septum right there. So go ahead and label this section just like you did for the left section. Atrium, ventricle, and then you've got to orient yourself. You've got your right auricle, and then you've got your vessels coming out of here. So that's pretty much it for this lab. I think the most important takeaway from this is the heart is a double pump. Whenever your heart beats, you're sending blood to the lungs to get oxygenated, and you're sending blood from the heart to the rest of the body. And that happens with every heartbeat. And you should be struck by the amount of musculature in the heart itself. I mean, this is just pretty remarkable, how strong a heart has to be to continually pump blood throughout, in this case, a sheep's life, but throughout, let's say if you live to be 100. I mean, that's just incredible. You can see what would happen if you had problems with blockages in your arteries, or a main problem with humans is coronary artery disease. The arteries that feed the outside of the heart, when they become blocked, causes the heart muscle to suffer and die. People have problems with the valves. Some valves can be replaced, but you don't want blood flow to go backwards through your heart. That's not very effective. The other thing to really note is the musculature of this, the muscular walls of this aorta. You know, the aorta is your main artery in your body, and it has to be strong. It has to be able to withstand a lot of pressure and send that oxygenated blood throughout your body. So that's the sheep's heart, and I think we can safely say there's a good reason I did not become a surgeon, but I did my best, and if you struggle, that's fine. As long as you gave it a shot, that's all I'm looking for. Thank you.